Conflict Desert Storm is a tactical shooter video game developed by Pivotal Games and published by Ski Games and Gotham Games for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. It is the first installment in the Conflict series. The player can choose between playing as the SAS or the US Delta Force. Each soldier in the squad has a unique ability, such as using the Demolitions Expert to destroy bridges, the Heavy Weapons Specialist to destroy tanks, a dedicated sniper, and the team leader who carries the radio. Prior to beginning a campaign, the player can run through the basic training portion of the game, which will cover the use of weapons, as well as being trained in the use of artillery and airstrikes, along with basic medical skills and squad maneuvers. Playthrough missions set in the Gulf War with different objectives such as destroy scout launchers, destroy armor, and anti-aircraft artillery. The story goes as follows. Iraq launches an invasion of Kuwait on August 2nd, 1990. A sniper, Paul Foley, and a teammate are deployed behind enemy lines to destroy a bridge to slow the Iraqi advance. But Foley's teammate is killed and Foley himself is captured. The next day, Rifleman John Bradley is inserted into the area to rescue Foley and complete Foley's mission to destroy the bridge. Fighting his way through infantry, Bradley succeeds in rescuing Foley and together they destroy the bridge before being extracted by a helicopter.
Alpha 2, this is Voodoo 3. Foley's last communication placed him north of the bridge. Rescue Foley, blow the bridge, and return for extraction. Good luck. Over.
Roger that, Voodoo 3. See you later. Over.
Your team consists of Sergeant John Bradley, team leader / rifleman, Corporal Paul Foley, sniper / medic, Corporal Mick Connors, heavy weapons specialist, and Corporal David Jones, combat engineer / medic. You can control your whole team by giving out orders such as follow me, hold your ground, advance, fire at will, and hold your fire. Towards the end of the game, though Kuwait is liberated of the Iraqi army, General Aziz refuses to surrender and prepares to fight to the last man. With the general preparing for a counterattack, Alpha 2 is dispatched into Iraq to assassinate General Aziz and end the war. As the headquarters is a heavily defended and shielded bunker within a 13th century Crusader fort, Alpha 2 is forced to infiltrate the fort and take down its air defenses. An airstrike named with bunker buster bombs is called in upon General Aziz's bunker, destroying it. Though the general tries to flee the airstrike, he is shot dead by Alpha 2 as he emerges from the bunker and the team is extracted by helicopter.
Allied victory in the Gulf. Headline news. Iraq has surrendered unconditionally within the last hour. Iraqi forces have already started pulling out of Kuwait or have surrendered en masse to Allied forces. Central to maintaining this coalition were Allied Special Forces teams that hunted down and destroyed Iraq's Scud missile capabilities. This victory was achieved by an unprecedented coalition of United Nations armed forces whose combined efforts have driven the invading Iraqi armies from Kuwait.
My countrymen and I are eternally grateful to the Allied powers for casting out these invaders and returning our nation's freedom. I personally hope those responsible for our salvation and freedom are justly rewarded.
Good to see you, gentlemen. Good work. Glad you could all make it. You performed above and beyond the call of duty. Time for some well-earned R&R.
Dead hot! Thank you, sir!
On the console version of this game, there is a two-player co-op which allows you to play locally with another player. This was the best feature that was integrated on the console version and unfortunately not added onto the PC version. The PC version only includes an online mode where you can go head-to-head with a friend. Conflict Desert Storm 2 is set during the Persian Gulf War and is based on the covert operations of Alpha 1. Once again, play with a four-man special forces team of either the British SAS or US Delta Force. Similarly to the first game, you control one member at a time with commands that can be used to control your squad. On August 2, 1990, Iraq forces evaded and occupied Kuwait, resulting in an allied coalition of over 100 countries to come to the aid of Kuwait against Iraq. During the first day of Kuwait's liberation, Special Forces Team Alpha 1 is deployed on a rescue mission to Al Hadar, where Delta 2, an allied Special Forces team, is trapped behind Iraqi lines. With gunships providing assistance, Alpha 1 breach the city walls, locate and secure Delta 2's last known position, but does not immediately make visual contact with them. Alpha 1 continued to search the city for them the next morning, and finally locate them after battling through several Iraqi troops and supporting armor in the city. Experience gathered by each member of the team over time results in promotions and medals awarded for distinguished conduct during missions. Just like in the first game, the player takes control of the same squad that includes Bradley, Foley, Connors, and Jones. Alpha 1 is then sent on a covert operation to destroy an Iraqi radar site and fuel dump. Sneaking past their base defenses, Alpha 1 successfully destroys the designated targets. However, upon completion of their mission, Alpha 1 finds himself surrounded by Iraqi troops, tanks, and gunships. Bradley orders the troops to stand down, and as a result of this, him and his squad are captured. They are questioned by using brutal means. A flight of stealth fighters drop smart bombs over the complex, providing the squad a means to escape. Before returning to the Allied lines, Alpha 1 is deployed to a site housing sarin gas, as well as multiple Scud missiles and launchers that they disarm and destroy. As the liberation of Kuwait draws near, retreating Iraqi troops are ordered to set fire to numerous Kuwaiti oil wells as part of the scorched earth policy. Alpha 1 are ordered to halt further damage by disarming numerous explosives on several oil wells, before linking up with forward elements of the 2nd Marines. With the assistance of the 2nd Marine Division, Alpha 1 is sent to an abandoned airport where Iraqi troops have placed various SAM sites, as well as an air defense grid. Alpha 1 are ordered to take out these air defenses. With air superiority ensured for the coalition troops, Alpha 1 then embark on the destruction of both super guns in the city's harbor, eradicating any hope remaining for the Iraqi forces of success.
Freedom. I personally hope those responsible for our salvation and freedom are justly rewarded.
That's that, men. We've won. It's time to go home.
Conflict Vietnam is a tactical shooter video game developed by Pivotal Games and published by Global Star Software and SCI Games for PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Windows. Released in 2004, it is the third installment in the Conflict series. Conflict Vietnam has players taking control of Ragman, Junior, Hoss, and Cherry, aka Doc, a squad of 4 101st Airborne Division soldiers on the eve of the Tet Offensive in 1968. Conflict Vietnam opens in 1968, just days before the Tet Offensive begins, as 19-year-old Private Harold Cherry, later known as Doc, Kayla is introduced to his squad mates on a Huey gunship leading to Ghost Town, a 101st Airborne Division base in South Vietnam. Ghost Town serves as a tutorial to show you the basics of the game, such as healing, shooting, and controlling your squad. In Conflict Vietnam, new commands have been applied. Now you can order a troop to heal another troop or pick up items. A new system for picking up weapons has been introduced, and now enemies can drop weapons that you can pick up, and you can swap guns also. The Tet offensive occurs just after Kayla's first combat patrol, and he and the rest of Ragman's squad soon find themselves cut off behind enemy lines after the helicopters deploying them on a night patrol are shot down. Over the next several days, the squad find themselves fighting through an unknown jungle that is filled with VC and NVA. During a rescue attempt, where the squad were to be rescued by a helicopter, the helicopter was shot down by AA guns. After escaping a napalm strike, they meet up with the Chief, commander of a Navy PBR. The Chief is alone prior to meeting up with the squad, having dropped some green berets off upriver where he saw some strange shit. After fighting their way through a VC fortified area called Charlie's Point, the men discover the Chief has been killed and soon meet up with a group of Montagnards. They are asked to recover a sacred statue, and in return, they could use their radio to call for a helicopter extraction from the 1st Air Cav. The squad is then sent to a base that was under siege. After fighting off a heavy VC and NVA assault, the squad is praised by an overjoyed Major Wallace, who promises all of them commendations for their bravery. A dying VC throws a grenade into the bunker as the Major speaks, rendering them unconscious. They are captured and Major Wallace is killed when the men are forced to play Russian roulette. After escaping from the VC POW camp, the squad meets Sergeant Stone from the SASR and his squad. The two sergeants lead the men through a series of VC tunnels that the SASR were ordered to destroy. They succeed, and Stone and Ragman part on good terms, meeting up with the USMC Jeep. The squad joins up with a column of trucks and tanks headed for Hue. After battling through the war-torn city and destroying numerous NVA T-34s with an M48 Patton tank, the squad mounts up the 101st Airborne Huey, which will take them to the Citadel, where the 101st are currently fighting. The squad infiltrate the Citadel, taking the fortress and eliminating its garrison, including a handful of tanks and the commanding general.
Someone set us up.
We have to go now!
Mandela's holed up in Kashmir.
Conflict Global Terror, also called Conflict Global Storm in Europe, is a tactical shooter video game developed by Pivotal Games and Cyanogenix, and published by SCI Games and 2K for PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Microsoft Windows. It is the fourth installment in the Conflict series. The action focuses on an elite rapid response special forces unit, using the four original members of the Desert Storm series and the new member. Bradley, Foley, Connors, Jones, and Sherman must overcome terrorists over many different countries, including Colombia, South Korea, Ukraine, Egypt, Philippines, and Kashmir. The game starts with Red Team performing a Halo insursion into the Colombian jungle, where they are captured and taken to a nearby town controlled by militia forces. Connors manages to break free and sets out to free the other squad mates, in which they complete the remaining tasks of the mission, with one being to capture a man called Mandel. Red Team then proceed to the extraction point, where Foley decides to stay back and defend the team, causing him to get lost. Similarly to the previous games, the same commands can still be applied to you and your teammates. The team is given a replacement sniper, Carrie Sherman. They are then sent on a mission to protect Senator Jack Maguire on a diplomatic mission to South Korea. The squad are sent on many different missions, such as to defuse bombs, destroy armor, and even laser designate certain areas. As this is happening, Red Team suspect there is a traitor among them, and that is why they were captured in the first mission. The traitor is revealed to be Strachan. Red Team were then sent to the Philippines to meet up with Connors' brother Alan and locate him. Red Team set up a safe house near Hotel Manki, where Strachan is present as the information given by Alan Connors. The team are attacked by terrorists and escape, but fail to apprehend Strachan before retreating. Later on, he is found in a state where he has taken 4 hostages and is being defended by highly trained mercenaries. Red Team eliminates Klerbler in revenge for the brutal murder of Alan Connors. The final mission is set in Kashmir, where Mandel plans to launch nuclear missiles at Pakistan to trigger a war between them and India. Red Team disarms the missiles and Mandel is killed when his M25 Hind is shot down by Red Team. The game ends with Red Team deciding to return to Colombia to find Foley.
Get on that console and upload the code to Dr. Franklin.
Jones, you heard the man. We have to stop the missile.
I'm on it.
Come on, Jones.
Nearly there. Uploading data.
Good work. Encryption's underway.
This is taking too long.
That's it. I've done
it. Well, that's it.
Where now?
Colombia.
What? Yeah, let's find out what happened to Foley.
Everyone agreed?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Let's go.
Between the insurgent Ramirez regime and forces loyal to the democratic government of Venezuela. Yesterday, General Ramirez's armed forces entered Caracas and are now engaged in eradicating all opposition. As the civilian death toll mounts, the U.S. has requested that an international peacekeeping force be allowed to restore order to the embattled country. General Ramirez today responded by seizing the Petro Naviera oil fields and has threatened to deploy nuclear weapons if the U.S. continues to meddle in his country's affairs.
To deploy nuclear weapons in defense of our country.
Conflict the Night Ops is a tactical shooter video game developed by Pivotal Games and published by Eidos Interactive for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. It is the 5th and final installment in the Conflict series. Originally, the game was to be called Crossfire, but was later changed. It was released on February 8, 2008 in Europe, February 12th in North America, February 21st in Australia, and January 16, 2009 in Japan. This is also the first game that doesn't have the player control a 4-man squad, also being why this game is the worst in the series. I will get to that later on. The game takes a different route as it is now a first-person shooter, and you can take control of Lincoln Graves and Reggie Lang. The story takes place in a fictional war in Venezuela. General Ramirez and his associates have staged the Ramirez regime, where Ramirez is slowly plotting to take over his country. First, he sends his troops to seize an oil refinery, then threatens to deploy nuclear weapons if the United States continues to quote-unquote meddle in his country's affairs. The US government sends 2 CIA operatives, which are Lincoln Graves and Reggie Lang, on a series of missions to take down the general and any other possible threat. The team seemingly encounter many different conflicts that are all linked to Ramirez. Eventually they end up tracking him down and arresting him.
Don't leave me hanging, bro.
How many times do I have to tell you I'm not your damn bro?
We are getting reports that General Ramirez was captured earlier today during a U.S. assault on a remote military facility in the Venezuelan Andes. U.S. forces launched a major attack on the regime of General Ramirez. Ramirez's army did not go without a fight, and the battle raged for over 5 hours. News of the president's capture sparked mass desertions from the Venezuelan army. Reports from the ground suggest that forces loyal to the democratic government are moving unopposed throughout the country. The President of the United States said he was pleased with the seizure of Venezuela's nuclear arsenal, but declined to make public the details of the operation against the Ramirez regime. He said, "A blow has been struck against the instigators of nuclear terrorism by heroes who, for the safety of the nation, must remain nameless."
You hear that, gentlemen? That's me the President's referring to. After all, I was the one put the two of you together. Have to admit, though, for a moment I was sure it was going to end up ugly.
The man said heroes, boss. He's talking about us.
You want to be famous, you joined the wrong team. Get used to it.
Know what, bro? I already have.
Now, have in mind this was the first time that I ended up buying and playing Conflict Night Ops on Steam. The game received mixed reviews on all consoles. It was criticized for its unoriginal and generic gameplay and broken co-op system. Conflict fans really didn't enjoy that the game converted to a first-person shooter and much preferred the tactical third-person. Unfortunate to say, but this game killed the franchise. On July 14, 2008, it was officially announced that the studio around these games was to shut its doors, and 99 staff had already been made redundant, leaving only a team of 10 to 12 specialist personnel. Pivotal Games was closed on August 13, 2008.